Welcome back, everybody. This is Brother Moon here. Today we're going to continue our quest to complete Pathfinder Kingmaker using our Sword Saint. This is Dorraj, and of course his two mercenary buddies. We have a custom-built Eldritch Scoundrel who is undead, as well as a Inquisitor who is of the Monster Tactician subtype. We are using a full team at this point because I've managed to get to level 15, I want to say, on my main character, so I'm pretty happy about that. Matter of fact, we have 3 characters that are 15 right now, one being me, one being Ekin, who recently got an upgrade like crazy to match my level, as well as an upgrade to Knock Knock. When we picked him up, he became the same level as me as well. So we have 3 characters that are really, really high right now. See, we have mods. For those of you that have never played this game before, know that I am using mods. So there's something here is different in my game versus your vanilla version of the game. Chances are that's what you're seeing. Turn-based combat being an obvious one. Highly recommended that you download. Again, you can get all these at the Nexus, so just type into Google Nexus, that's Nexus, and then Pathfinder, and you will find all these mods and then some. I have other things. The most notable, though, would be Eldritch Arcana. This gives me some spells that you don't have, just a few. Give me a few feats that you don't have as well. But it also gives me traits, which is something you don't have any of in the vanilla version of the game. And traits are how I actually made my custom-made undead character. Now there's other cheats and stuff in this game, like Bag of Tricks I can actually use, and I have used. It's how I actually made my mercenaries with a 25-point buy. It makes no sense to me to have lesser characters on your team. So you can alter those stats inside Bag of Tricks, and many, many other things, like find spells, wands, scrolls, potions, gear of all kinds. You can gift them to yourself. I consider most of that cheating, but if you watch the very first video, you see that I cheated and gave my main character every scroll for level 1 and 1 scroll for level 2 spells. And there was a rational reason for that. Again, a story-built theme that I was building on. So feel free to watch that video to understand why I gifted myself those specific scrolls. These characters right now, we are all in Mordecai's tomb, and we're trying to figure out what's happened to Varnhold. This is our neighbor, our neighboring state, and our buddy, no less. We've been picking up some solid gear, some really good stuff that we will sell more likely than not. If we're not using it on our team, then why do we need to keep it? But we're going to pull off a pretty decent bank heist here. We have, well, first let me show you where we're at. We went through this maze, and we veered off to go up here, down this path, instead of going up this path. Now we have 2 different paths to go at. We're definitely going to take all of them. But just to show you what we're talking about here. Just non-stop monsters everywhere we go. We have these greater dread zombie Cyclops, and as you can see, because of my turn-based combat, we have a pop-up menu here that shows us the initiative order for who's first, second, third, and on down the line. And sometimes there's a surprise round, and you'll know that because instead of seeing these 3 buttons here, you'll actually see 2. Just this one and this one. And that's how you know it's a surprise round. Also, it will tell you in the tool pop-up tip here. Now, Eliza, because we're catching this guy flat-footed, we can have our sneak attackers, which include Proto-Lich and, to a much lesser extent, Jubilost. The ability to do some sneak attack damage to this fool. But after this first combat round, then he's aware, not flat-footed anymore. So the only real good way to get him for sneak attack reliably is to flank him. So we definitely want to have guys on other sides of him. So again, not the worst idea ever to have someone like our tank up front. We angered lots and lots of bad guys in this general area. Proto-Lich's turn. I'm going to have her delay her turn till just before this doofus. See that? So that gives her the chance to do sneak attack damage just before he has his turn. But we really need more people up on this journey. Reg, or Regangar here, he's a meleeer, a magus, just like me, but an Eldritch Scion.
I'll cut you.
Very nice done. He had a spell already saved up, so you can see he did extra damage. That's the shock damage of 44 here. And because he's a dragon bloodline, draconic bloodline, that's a blue dragon, he does electric damage. He does extra damage for every die of damage. He gets another point added to it, so 10d6 plus 10. So minimum of 20, maximum of 70. That's a solid hit for him there. Magi, like him, like my main character who is a sword saint, is another subclass of Magi, and he's an Eldritch Scion Magi. Magus, there we go. They have the ability to cast their melee touch attacks through their weapon, with the exception of one of the Magus subclasses, and that's the Eldritch Archer. They actually take ray spells, like Scorching Ray, like Snowball, like Battering Blast, Enervation, and others, and are capable of shooting them through their ranged weapon. And the reason that that is important is because it gives them an extra attack around, and it also allows them to crit more likely with that ray spell, or in our case, our touch attack. If your weapon crits, then so does your touch attack, doubling the damage. And that's something of importance to us. Dorraj's turn. I'm going to sidestep all over this fool right here. This will hurt! Solid 62 on him. He's about dead. Now, this could be one of those guys that doesn't die when you take him to 0, but we're going to rely on the fact that he probably is like a stone's throw away of dying. So Jubilos doesn't need to use bombs. He's actually out of them.
Clever ploy.
Alright, this is our last chance to damage this fool. Do the 5-foot stutter step to here.
Out of my way!
Nope. Christian?
Repent!
Do not hold back.
She is not having any luck hitting this guy. He's got some decent armor on him, but I mean, her first hit, she's at 19, so she needs like 11. Oh, wow, she rolled badly. Our buffs are wearing off, as you can see. We didn't buff up properly.
Die for me.
Now,
Due time.
on that, again, we're leaving the heavy treasure behind. That's basically just a greatsword +2, probably, you know, full plate +1 or +2.
Any fun to be had?
Share your trouble.
Might as well buff up again, just to make sure that we have just a little more juice on our side. We found some hidden treasure.
Got it.
Breastplate +3. That's not bad. That's not bad. We will drop it, but it's definitely something worth keeping. Actually, I saw a ring there. It's a +2. Does anyone have something less than that? Yes. Rather him have a 25 armor than a 24. It's a solid upgrade. Okay. Now, I'm not sure where Vorticai is. I'm guessing it's this spot. But this may be him. If that's the case, we'll probably scum save it and go backwards. We saw a room just like this upstairs, and it looked like it was supposed to hold the Oculus of Abaddon. And again, I don't know how you get the Oculus, and you'll see why when we get to that fight. See, an image on the stone panel depicts a Cyclops. Excuse me. Cyclops, who tore out his eye and threw it on the ground. There's a ball of light in his hand, and he looks like he intends to put it into his empty eye socket. And again, this is kind of leading you to the story of Vorticai. The walls are covered with the images of various disasters, war, pestilence, famine, and other horrors. Featured prominently in every picture is the image of a horseman. Remember, Abaddon is a place, if I remember correctly, or a god. And the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are supposed to be the central players at Abaddon. So let's actually grab this. This is kind of nothing room. But again, story, you know, lore is important. Looks like there should be something here, but it's not. Okay. Let's see what we got this way. Now I have shut off the pause once a trap shows up, for instance. So I have to be quick on the take here to make sure my team don't rush in to a trap. So be real careful if you shut off that specific feature. And that's a level up for Eliza. We'll take care of that here in a mo.
Done.
Alright, before we activate this thing and explore further, Let's get Eliza. She is an Inquisitor mostly, and again, a monster tactician type. And this will be a nice upgrade for her because she gets another teamwork feat, as well as a feat here. But she's also a monk level dip. And the reason for being a monk, traditional monk to be specific, was she's a high wisdom character. And this allows us to use things like Crane Style, Crane Wing, Crane Riposte, as well as her monk armor class bonus for her wisdom. As long as she's not wearing armor, she gets this massive armor class bonus thanks to her high wisdom, her dexterity, and any kinds of other gear and spells we put on her. So we have a really, really high armor class for this character. Not necessarily the highest that could be achieved, but definitely up there. So that's always an important feature for her. Cool skills. And use magic device. And again, you see she's doing really well on her lore, nature, lore, religion, perception. Remember, these are wisdom-based stats, something that she's amazing at. So if we need to perceive something, she's pretty much our gal. And she even gets a bonus besides this. So you see the 23 here? Watch this. See how it says actually 28 in the pop-up? She gets another 5 more from Stern Gaze, which is another feature of the Inquisitor. There's only like 1 or 2 other characters in the game, or class types in the game, that give a bonus to perception naturally as you level up. And I want to say one is a rogue type because they get like trap sense kind of abilities, which allows them to basically increase their perception for traps. But it actually looks like it's increasing their perception for everything. So maybe it's slightly different. But it doesn't look like they've delineated like finding traps versus finding hidden doors versus finding like hidden loot. They all fall under the perception check category. You see her persuasion is particularly high as well, but she doesn't really have much in the way of charisma. So again, I've invested heavily into that one. But she also has a stat, or a trait, excuse me, that takes her wisdom and adds it to persuasion instead of her charisma. And there's what's called wisdom in the flesh. And it basically takes a variety of stats that are not wisdom based. You get to pick one of them, and suddenly it can be a wisdom stat. And persuasion was a solid choice for her because, again, while we don't need her to do persuasion like for the kingdom, that's my job. I'm the ruler. I'm the baron. But she has an ability that allows her to intimidate targets. And again, intimidation falls under persuasion, just like bluff does, just like diplomacy does. All 3 of those fall under their persuasion skill. And she has just enough use magic device to be useful. Athletics, of course, she's a strength-based character, so it made sense to make her strength or athletics skill high. She has skill in it, but she has skill in everything. But since that was her next highest stat, it made sense to be something else that I buff up. From here, do the teamwork feat first. So now if you show unavailable, you can see all the ones that you can't get. Seize the moment. Need combat reflexes to get this one. So again, a feat that I can grab here. Tandem trip. You need trip for this one, and I don't care about this one. There's a lot of people that do a trip build, where you have someone that's really, really good at trip, so that you can literally knock someone on their ass. Because if they're on their ass, they can't attack you. When they're standing back up, everyone around them gets attacks of opportunity. So this is a solid option. I'm just not going that route. I'm going to stick with the mundane stuff. So we have Allied Spellcaster. Notice this one. Whenever you are adjacent to an ally who has this feat, you receive a +2 to concentration checks and a level checks, +2 to concentration checks and level checks made to overcome spell resistance. So basically spell penetration +2. Notice something else. Because she's an Inquisitor, these tactics, she has this thing called solo tactics, which means all she has to do is be standing next to an ally. That could also include her any of her summoned pets, and the game treats them as having these feats, everybody, allies and of any kind, even though they don't, for the purpose of allowing her to have the feat. So she literally gets to use the benefit without someone else having the same tactics. And better than that, once she got to here, now all her pets that she summons have the same tactics that she has. So every pet she summons has precise strike, outflank, back to back, and again, all these other ones as well. Now we can do coordinated defense. This actually could be pretty useful because this increases their chance to avoid combat maneuvers. Coordinated defense, coordinated maneuvers is the counter to that. Coordinated maneuvers includes things like your trip, your bull rush, stuff of this nature. Basically, combat tricks that's going to shape the battlefield from a fighter standpoint. Notice we have also Shake It Off, bonus to your saving throws per ally near you. And again, if she summons her horde, she could be standing next to a full 4 dudes. That's a +4 to the saves. And again, pretty helpful. Shield wall and shielded caster are a little weird. Concentration check bonuses, which are extremely useful, but again, if you have shields, it gets better depending on the type of shield that you have. Shielded wall, again, armor class gets better, but they need to have, again, a shield in their hand, a buckler, a light shield, a heavy shield, or tower shield. I'm just reading this last part here. That's pretty awesome right there. That's a really good combo with Valerie, who's not on the team. So let's actually grab that allied spellcaster. I've been wanting that one for a while. From here, Mage Tattoo is an appealing one for her. She's a conjurer after all. This gives her a little bonus for conjuration. So with greater spell focus conjuration. I can get a weapon focus for her. She has a variety of weapons, but the downside is which is her favorite. She's using size right now, but she uses all monk ones. So that's a quarterstaff. That's her unarmed strike. That's Kama. And Chakus are also in the game. Kamas are in the game. But that's not really something I particularly care about. Additional traits, on the other hand. This is the traits I was talking about. Matter of fact, this is the perfect opportunity to show you this. So first, we already grabbed an emotion drawback for her character at that level 1 at the rank up process. Now we can get this one too. And the reason you want these drawbacks is because not only do they add a little spice and flavor to the game, but by getting them, instead of having 2 traits, you get a 3rd trait. So again, these are pretty powerful buffs, as you'll see here in a moment. Now we have to go through the list. Now let me show you the one that we had earlier. So you see you were cursed. Here's the choices for curses. This is how I made my undead character, the Eldritch Scoundrel. She literally took as a physique drawback, she was cursed, and because she had a couple of things, let's see the requirements to get this undead curse. You need to have spell focus into necromancy, or you need to be somehow aligned with Urgathoa. So as long as you're an Urgathoa loving whatever, Urgathoa is the deity you picked, or you happen to be a spell focus in necromancy, you can pick this undead curse. Being undead really is powerful. We're not doing it. But this is the one where literally you're vulnerable to fire, holy, and divine attacks. Not surprising because you are undead. But also you get the ability to basically be undead, which means you have no constitution score. And your charisma now takes over for your constitution. So if you have a high charisma-based character, this is how you would make an amazing undead character. This is how I made Proto-Lich, my Eldritch Scoundrel. So that's how you do that. We're not doing that. And there's a variety of other ones in here. Notice that we have ones that have pull tabs on them. So they have different penalties depending on what you pick. Same with like bad vision. I can be a bookworm. I can be farsighted. I can be nearsighted. And honestly, bookworm, of all the things here, you use your intelligence modifier instead of wisdom on perception checks. So again, if you were a smart-ass person for a penalty, this is not the worst penalty to have. Yes, it's a -1 to your perception checks, but so what? If your intelligence is amazingly high, this is a good way for you to ignore not only that penalty, but get a really nice buff besides for something that should be a penalty. Same with like farsighted, melee attacks -1, nearsighted, ranged attacks are at -2. And again, they add some theme to it. Again, people have glasses in this game, so I don't mind if you have a nice portrait, and again, it looks like, well, maybe he's farsighted and he's going to be a meleeer. He's wearing glasses. Make him farsighted. Again, it'll only, nearsighted. Make him be sucky at ranged attacks, and because he's going to melee most of the time, if not all the time anyway, it's not going to be a penalty. So you see the point. There's other ones here like burned, penalty on saves versus fires. That's not cool. Penalties against vermin and other things, not cool. Family died. Will saves, basically trauma. Fey taken, another massive penalty, some stuff. Foul brand is a trippy one, depending on where you get it. A penalty to your persuasion, a penalty to your trickery, penalty to your movement. Now, of all these here, honestly, the one that wouldn't bother me the most here is this one, the hands. Because if you're not a trickery-based character, who cares that you got a -2 penalty to it? So you see what I'm saying? There's ways around this being a penalty. The one that most people, I would say, would take is hedonistic. As long as you have gold, there's no penalty. You are a creature of pleasure and comfort. You take a -2 penalty to strength and dex. Basically, you're fatigued. If the team does not possess 100 gold pieces plus 200 gold per level. So if you're level 13, so times that by 13, what is that? 2,000, 600, so 2,600, 2,700 bucks. As long as we have 2,700 bucks or more on the party at all times, she's going to be fine. And again, if it thematically makes sense, I'll happily pick it. There's other stuff like the occult bargain, concentration check penalty, People that worship Lamashtu, she gets a penalty to her armor class and her saves. That's just something I'm not going to deal with. Warded against nature, penalties and weird things against animals. So that's kind of wild. I don't know how this chance of wild animals not engaging you is greater. That sounds cool, but I don't know how that actually works. And there's other stuff in here to be worried about. For instance, on the emotional side, the emotional drawbacks that they have, there's a couple in there that are pretty wild. One of which is like impatient or something of that effect. And without it telling you in the pop-up tooltip, when you pick it, your character, you will not be able to control them in combat. At least not for the first round. I don't know if it's every round. The AI takes over. And that impatient character rushes into battle and does whatever the hell they want. You're like, what the hell are you doing, dude? They are the impatient ones. So again, know what these things do. They are important. For here, though, I'll happily take hedonistic. I'm fine with that. That's fine with me. That's a solid one. And again, cheap, easy to avoid the problem, and then it gives me an extra trait. Now here's the traits. Notice you can only get one trait from each category once, and you only get 6 traits total. So again, we don't have a lot of choices here. So I've already done equipment trait for her, faith trait, and regional trait. So the last 3 traits I have, I'm not going to do a custom trait because those are, like it even says, cheat. But there's other ones in here that are decent. Optimistic Gambler, by the way, is a really fun one because you can get some really wicked stuff here. This is the one, if you click it, right-click this, and if you read this here, it'll tell you to draw down to the bottom. It tells you what you actually get. So each one of these, there's a long list here, guys. But each one of these has something unique that it gives you. In this case, Mastery of the Undead allows you to summon undead skeletons 3 times a day as a spell-like ability. That's baller. That's, again, another trait that I gave my undead character, the Eldritch Scoundrel, so she could be Proto-Lich. So she has a lot of really good things going for her that are based on her being a Necro Lord, so to speak. There's other stuff in here, though, like Outlander. You can get like bonuses to your spells. Pick 3 spells when you choose this trait. From this point on, whenever you cast these spells, they get a +1 to the caster level and the DC of that spell. That's pretty powerful. And notice this, +1 trait bonus to Knowledge Arcana. Now, if that's not your thing, because maybe you're not a knowledge person, she is not. She's a wisdom person, and therefore lore's her bread and butter. Then you just do Outlander Missionary. It's the same exact thing, except it's now lore religion is your bonus. See that? Otherwise, it's exactly the same. So this would be the one I picked for her, and we'll do so. Notice she only has level 1 through 6 spells eventually that she'll have access to. So you have to kind of find them on that list. And be careful, because some of your level 6 spells are actually on the level 7 list. Because they actually did this, the spell list 1 through 9 for like clerics and druids and wizards. Okay? Now the reason that's important is, I'll give you a fine example. Let's see if I can find one in here. Of one that's on our list. Actually, I don't see a damn one of them. Okay, maybe I'm thinking like it's lower on the list, but it should be a level 6 spell, but instead they made it a level 5. Let's see if I can find it. Greater Heroism, I think, is a fine example. I'm fairly certain Greater Heroism is a level 6 spell for me, but if on this list it's level 5. So again, keep your eye out. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not here somewhere. It's just somewhere on a different page, so to speak. But she is a Inquisitor, and therefore we're looking for Inquisitor type stuff. Now, we have a variety of spells that she has that are like Shield of Faith, but I mean, really, you don't need a high DC for that. The bonus to the caster level would just mean it lasts a minute longer. It's not horrible. I mean, I won't say that, but it's still one of those where it's like, really, of all the things you could think of doing, that's not the thing to do. But let's go level 2, see if there's something in here. Bone Shaker, she has access to that one. And that one is based on caster level. If you look, right-click it, once you select it, you right-click it here, it tells you a little bit about the spell. Sadly, it doesn't pop up the whole spell, which is kind of a drag. But notice this, it's 3d6 of damage, plus 1d6 per 2 caster levels. Now remember, she has a monk dip. So at level 20, by the end of her build, she's actually a level 19 Inquisitor. So 19 caster levels, not 20. So picking this will actually allow this spell to actually achieve level 20 now. You see what we just did there? And that will allow her to get another d6 out of it. It's not amazing, but it is there. And that's my point. So again, another little oomph in the direction of, hey, here's some more damage in your face, jackass. So again, a solid choice. I could do the same though for like her healing spells. Remember, she has her cure spells. And while you'd be like, well, those don't really have a caster level to them. Yes, they do. 1 point per caster level, maximum of plus 10. Now again, she's already beyond that. But that doesn't mean she couldn't just as easily pick one of the higher ones. Your serious wounds, for instance, can go all the way up to 15. She's member 13 right now, but she's caster level 12. So if I want this to do another point higher, again, it's not amazing, again, but remember, it also has a save to it. Higher DC check. Why is that important? If I use the Cure Serious Wounds to damage undead, she heals them, remember? Which is something that undead hate. So boom, I just did a DC check on you, you jackass, and now you have a less likely to pass that will save because my DC for this spell is 1 point higher. So again, they'll take full damage more likely than not. Well, not more likely than not, but at least more likely that'll happen than it was a moment ago. She has other spells on her list that again are kind of hit or miss. I'm looking for a specific spell. There it is. Searing Light. This little goober actually is fun. The downside of this one is it's a race spell. 1d8 per 2 caster levels, right? Maximum of 5d8. Now, there is ways around this. We can get a feat, meta magic feat, which she does not have, called Intensified Meta Magic. That will, or use a meta magic rod for that matter, that allows her to increase this number. How does it work? It actually adds 5 caster levels to this, assuming you have 5 caster levels to give. Now, what does that mean? So, let's say she's done at level 20, and she's a level 20 caster, right? This thing caps out at level 10. You see this? 1d8 points of damage per 2 caster levels, maximum of 5d8. How do you get to 5d8? You're caster level 10 or higher. But I have that meta magic feat, let's say, and that allows it to go from level 10 max to 15. And again, as long as you're 15 or higher, you're fine. Well, what does 15 do? Well, it only adds 2 more of these 1d8s. Because again, it rounds down because it's every 2 caster levels, not every 1. So instead of doing 5d8, this could do 7d8 of damage to a target. But now watch this for the undead. Undead creatures take 1d6 damage, so less damage, right? But per caster level, maximum of 10d6. So again, at level 10 it still caps out. But again, with an intensified meta magic feat or the rod and enough levels, you could literally make that thing 15d6 of damage. See what I'm saying? That's pretty decent. And then the same here for constructs, but it's less damage and it's 2 caster levels again. So very similar to the human attack, which is the 5d8 up here. Just 5d6 in every 2 levels. But it really does sell the point here for this against undead targets. That's an okay pick for her. I'll happily take that one. What else does she have on her list that might be of interest to me? Bone Shatter. And again, this one's kind of trippy because it caps out at 15d6, means 15th caster level. She'll get all the way to 19. 20 if I pick this thing. Remember, it shifts us up a caster level. And if I intensify that shit, then I could technically make this a 20d6 damage. So I'll take that one. And let's see, is there anything else I want to take? I mean, you're going to get 3. So yes, there is something I'm going to take, but I just need to think about what I'm grabbing. Oh, Divine Power. Let's take a quick gainer at that one. That's just going to be like duration. Dominant Person, Dragon's Breath. She doesn't have that one. Okay. I don't remember if she gets Innervation, but I don't think this helps it anyway, because there's no save, so no DC check, and there's nothing about caster level associated with it except for how long it lasts, and who cares? It's going to be hours, which means they're going to straight die. Ooh, Flame Strike. She gets Flame Strike, I believe. So that'd be cool. And again, watch this one. Okay, so Flame Strike, maximum of 15d6 of damage at maximum caster level, which would be level 15. Again, she's not 15 yet, so it benefits her now. There's a DC check, so it benefits her now. And even after she gets to level 15 caster level, as long as I get that intensified meta magic, it'll still benefit her because I can push this 15 up to 20d6 of damage. So a solid choice here. So we got Bone Shatter, Searing Light, and Flame Strike for her. And again, none of these are, as you may have noticed, conjuration spells. And conjuration spells are kind of her bread and butter, so it's a little weird that I'm picking these ones. But she needs some offense, and that's what we're doing here. Now, for these ones, again, 2 more traits to pick from. Social traits, we got this list here. Notice that Adopted opens up like a laundry list of crap. You were adopted and raised by another group, so again, it'll give you a whole laundry list of you pick from all these different races. And that's just weird. You can do that, though. And again, if it makes sense to you, hey man, do that thing. But if we keep to her theme of what she is, avid reader is her choice. Child of the streets, bonus to trickery. Fast talker, bonus to persuasion. That's something that she uses. Maestro of the society, that's if you're a bard type person, because your bardic performance goes up. I could be suspicious, and therefore her perception goes up. That's awesome. And notice this part here. Perception is always a class skill for you. This was always a class skill for her anyway, but if it wasn't for your main character, there are many, many traits that will give you stuff like this, where it'll give you that little green check mark right next to like trickery or mobility, or in this case, perception. And that allows you to really get some extra points on a character that you didn't think you were going to get before. So I highly recommend this mod for this reason alone. Let's grab Suspicious, because I like the idea of having even more perception on this highly perceptive character. Last one. We have race traits. So World Traveler. Bonus to all these other stuff here. We get to pick a skill. Persuasion, Knowledge World, or Perception. And again, +1 on that skill. And it's a class skill for you, so again, green check mark. And again, you only get to pick one of these three. But again, we just grabbed one that did Perception. We could grab Persuasion. But again, she has green check marks on everything. Superstitious. Bonus against saving throws against arcane spells. That's a nice one. Shield Bearer. If you're doing a shield bash, you do more damage. Historian. And again, you can go through these. There's a lot of them. Nothing there that sticks out. I could do Magical Lineage. And this is a fun one. So remember this one here. Magical Lineage allows her to pick a spell 1 through 9. Obviously only 1 through 6 for her. And what it does is it takes any meta magic that you apply to it, any one meta magic that you apply to it, it lowers the cost by 1 level. So that intensified meta magic we were just talking about, that adds 1 level to casting it. So if it's a level 6 spell, you add 1 to it if you intensify it. So now it's a level 7 spell. She can't cast level 7. So how would I solve that problem? Pick the spell for here. Now we have good choices here. Bone Shatter's a solid choice. Searing Light's okay. Flame Strike's a solid choice. I'll probably pick either Bone Shatter or Flame Strike as her choice. Matter of fact, I'm fairly certain I want that Bone Shatter one, as it really is fun. And again, auto hit, so it's going to do damage. Single target, it's got a good range to it. And if I intensify that shit with this, it'll still cost the same caster level. So if it's a level 4 spell, it's still going to be a level 4 spell to cast it. And boom, it fires off. It does full 20d6 of damage. And I have a bonus to the DC check thanks to this little goober here. It's a win-win across the board. So you see what we just did there? Now, spell time. Level 4. You see, she doesn't have... Oh, wait a minute. She doesn't get access to Bone Shatter? That seems wrong. She's got Bone Shaker, not Bone Shatter. Oh, well, boo. I got all excited here. Does she have... Wait a minute. Does she have Searing Light even? She doesn't have Searing Light. She doesn't... Wow, she gets screwed, man. Okay, we need to reevaluate this. Here, let's look at what she has first. See if there's something that sticks out as awesome. Bone Shaker's good, but not great. Not amazingly in love with it. Your Piercing Scream. Yeah. Well, I could add some utility to it. The downside of this is instead of doing 5d6 of damage, I could get it up to 7d6. Ring a ding ding. But still, it's more is more. And a bonus to the DC check. She's really not built for damage. Wow. Okay, we need to reevaluate this, though. All right, let's go back to change these things. First off, we're not doing that one. Let's just go back there. And then this one here, we're going to go back, and go back. Okay. We need to repick these things. So, what are we going to pick? I can get that Cure Serious, like I said. Have it do more. We'll do that for now. I can even do the Cure Critical, which she doesn't have yet, but she'll get to it. And that'll be a nice one, because again, max plus 20. And again, higher DC check. So, yeah, this will make her a decent healer. And these are conjuration spells. I should point that out, too. Yeah, maybe that's the thing to do here. Because they are conjuration spells. Now, the next one she would get would probably either be Cleanse, or... I wonder if she gets Constricting Coils. Because this is a conjuration spell. For those of you that don't know, it's an amazing spell. Really good crowd control. It's basically like Hold Monster, but it does damage. Oh, wait, is this one a conjuration spell? No, it's not. This is an enchantment. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of something different. Chains of Light, that's the one I'm thinking of. And I don't think she gets that one. That sucks. Breath of Life she might get. No, that stuff looks familiar. I don't think she gets Kai's Shout, because that'd be amazing if she did. Because that guy does some solid damage. She might get Slay Living. But that's just lame damage. It's not really that impressive. Vine Trap isn't on her list either, I don't think. How about here at the level 6 stuff? Blade Barrier might be something that she gets. Maybe. She might get the Circle powers. The Circle of Death, the Undeath to Death. And because of that, matter of fact, I think I'm going to give... Oh wait, maybe she gets Heal. If she can get Heal... We can't intensify this one. I know this. I checked this the other day. So you can't actually get better than 150. But remember, again, it does have a damage to the undead. You hurt them instead of heal them. Because of that, there should be a will save. It doesn't say it, but it should be a will save. And that'd be okay. So we got Cure Critical, Cure Serious, and Heal. Okay. And then from here, you know, I might not even want that one now. Go back to the magic trait. We don't want that one. Pragmatic Activator, Intelligence, no. Magical Knack, no. Gifted Adept, +1 Casual Level Pass. Gifted Mind, +1 Concentration. Dangerously Curious, Classically Schooled, Beast of Society. Ooh, Shapeshift. Oh, but she can't shapeshift. How about Combat Traits? Okay, here we go. Let's get rid of the Blade of the Society. Here we go. This is the way that you do sneak attack damage without it being sneak attack damage. I know that's weird. But it only does 1d6 extra per hit. And +1 for every point of sneak, or every die of sneak attack you do another point of damage. So it's 1d6 +1. This is more useful on someone like our Eldritch Scoundrel, who does sneak attack damage like crazy. So she's doing like 66 of sneak attack damage right now, +6. Because she's 6 die. This gives her another point per die. So again, Blade of Society is pretty useful. There's stuff here that buffs your armor. There's here that basically allows you to confirm crits better reflexes, a variety of stuff on this list. Reactionary is pretty nice for initiative checks. Again, no wrong answer here. Just know that, like for the Berserker Rage, if you don't have Berserker Rage, this doesn't give it to you, right? So there's stuff like that. But there's some really interesting stuff in here. Witty Repartee, another fine one. Persuasion is a skill class for you and a +1 to persuasion checks. Fortitude, Reckless, Mobility is a skill for you and you get a +1 to it. Again, so like I said, there's a lot of different things to pick through, and traits are amazing for this regard because you get a lot of bang for your buck. Downside of traits is this. If you don't pick your first 3 traits at level 1, like it's your main character, or in this case a custom mercenary character, then you don't get 6 total, like I'm getting right now, my 4th, 5th, and 6th one. You can only get 1, 2, and 3. Okay? You have to pick them up at level 1, or get additional traits, which is what I'm doing now, which is this thing here, later on in the build, which is how I get 4, 5, and 6 for this build. But if it's any of the pre-generated characters, they're already started at level 1. They did not pick it, and therefore they will not have the original 3. So the best you can do is give them 3, not 6. So, just so we're clear on that. Now, spells. Cure Critical. Let's get that now. I'm actually quite bummed that she doesn't have the spells that I thought she had. Maybe it's a different character I was thinking of. Probably thinking of Tristan. That little bastard. He's a cleric proper, and he has all kinds of cool stuff. Alright, here is... Wow. Oh, wow. Priest. Greater Dread. Dread. So then you got a Tough Sucker, as well as a guy that's going to cast a whole person or some such on us. So, how do we handle this? We have ways to damage them. You notice this is a surprise round, so we did an initiative check, and this is our surprise round, okay? How do I know that? Because there's only 2 things we can do here. Attack or move, either or, and a swift action or a Yeah, I think the swift action, that's your choice. So like if I wanted to buff my weapon, that would be a swift action for me. But I can 5-foot stutter step and still attack, so I can get myself slightly into position. But honestly, I think I just want to move this the tiniest bit forward. And the reason for that is I have a spell that I can shoot down the beam. I can't get all 4 of these bastards, but I can hit 3 of them, including that cleric back there. I think I honestly want to damage the weak ones first, because they'll die faster, and then we can all focus fire on that big son bitch. But now, just for those of you that never saw that spell, this is Dragon's Breath. Okay, notice. Let me go back to my character. Notice something about him. It's got the yellow border, so this is an intensified Dragon's Breath. So normally the spell does, in this case, acid damage, and it does up to 1d6 of damage per caster level, maximum of 12d6. But if you look at the damage I did, that's at 16d6. That's because it's intensified, and I'm a level 15 caster with a +1 bonus. So I'm at 16d6 of damage now. Maximum for me will be 17d6 eventually. I'll get another level and that'll cap it out. But that's a 17d6 of either fire, or acid, or cold, or electric, depending on which of the spells of Dragon's Breath I choose. So again, solid damage, very useful. Highly recommend that's your pick if you know you're going to get that spell anyway. So that did solid damage to all those jackasses. Proto-Lich's turn. See that? So let's again 5-foot stutter step with her. Yay. Now she has things that can help us out here. We never use summon squirrels. And that's because it actually takes a full round of casting time. If I cast it now, she will not be able to cast it. She does not have a full round. It's a surprise round. She does have skeletons though, and this kick-ass Leviathan's gift. So watch this. This allows her to summon the maximum number, which in this case is 6. See how that went from 6 to 5? She can use that 6 times a day on any of her spells level 1 through 6. An amazing robe that we got as a gift from one of our many artisan admirers in our kingdom. Tristan's turn. He can step up to here. He also has the ability to summon skeletons, but he used it already. He has raised dead, some restoration stuff. He's kind of blown his load here. Old person doesn't work on these guys because they're not people, they're undead. It might be a whole monster might work on them, but again, he doesn't have that. So, he's kind of limited. But that doesn't mean he has nothing. At the very least, he can always AoE damage undead, but there's only one guy within range of that. See this guy here? See the big hog in yellow circle? Kind of cuts out. It's hard to see in the background here, but it's right there. So he could do that. I'm just going to have him shoot once. Reg's turn. And Reg has all kinds of stuff on his kitty, so let's actually have him 5-foot stutter step over here. Notice he can do fireball spells, like here. Now, yes, we may catch like a skeleton or 2 in this, if we're not careful, but I think we can plan it and get like all 4 of these bastards in. Again, while fire is not his cup of tea, he's better at electricity damage. It's still a solid choice for him, and why not take advantage of it, right? It's easier to place. We don't have to worry about hurting our skeletons. We managed to hurt 3 of the 4 bastards pretty solidly. Eliza's turn. Now she, 5-foot stutter step, is our Inquisitor that we just leveled up. So she has these little runes that she can place. She can even slap down a warding rune. We haven't yet to even use that. But she has all these spells besides, and notice that we can not target them with something like Bone Shaker. Okay, damn shame. We also have her Cure Serious. Matter of fact, I even have her other one I need to put in here now. Cure Critical spell is a viable option. But again, she'd have to rush over and touch them on the shoulder to do that stuff. The only one that I have that can do damage to these guys at range would be either the 4 different rune types, fire, electric, cold, or acid. Or she can do the sonic ear-piercing scream damage. So let's give that a go. Yeah, pretty lame, right? he made the save for one. Successful saving throw, half the damage, so yeah. Juba lost, Narthropple will come up here. His crossbow shoot. Very good prayer, huh? Changed his mind. Okay, Dorraj's turn. Now I have this ability called Shout, this power, this spell. Could use that. I can use Glitter Dust to some great effect and actually catch all these bastards blind. We'll save, we'll save, we'll save. If you see the twinkle on them, that just means they get coated with the dust. Apparently I didn't catch that guy in the twinkle. But if the twinkle concentrates around the eyes, which it did not do, that means they failed their save. That's a good way to tell if you've blinded them. They're not blinded though, but they are lit up like a Christmas tree. Didn't do us any good though. I'm going to have him step over here. Proto-Lich, now since we have a full attack round, I can do that summon squirrel move. Watch, that took everything from her, right? And the best you can do is do a stutter step at that point. The reason that I want these guys is because it's hard for them to get hit and killed. Now that doesn't mean these guys won't be able to marshal right through them, but we're going to see how good they do. Tristan, 5-foot stutter step against her in this direction. Shoot this guy.
To make this swift.
Okay, Reg. 5-foot stutter step again this way. Let's do that fireball. No, let's do a web spell. We can trap some of these fools. One of his more recent spell acquisitions, and this really screws those guys down because it makes them extremely slow. Now Eliza, she can stutter step closer. And let's just throw out some of these rune bomb things. Nice some damage. 10, 16, 13. That was successful. Doggos are going to get caught in the webs. It's okay. Hopefully these guys don't get caught in the webs. I hadn't thought of that. It's probably bad planning on my part.
Will they ever learn?
Well, that solved that problem. Dora. You got another dragon's breath on you, right? How about we do the electric one this time? No, let's do fire as a beam. Nope, can't get all of them. Oh, that was sexy. Remember, they're susceptible to fire, so vulnerability means they did like 50% more damage than normal. That's pretty sweet. Proto's turn.
Let's hear
Sneak
you
attack that fool.
cry.
There you go. Hey. Messing them up. Oh, they got caught in the web. Tristan.
So it's come to this.
Reg's turn, and again we can do another fireball. Boom. Alright, quick save that. Now, because I have a mod installed, I'm allowed to take that web spell that's a problem. Here, let's walk into it. Not you. Everybody. When you see someone get caught by it, here we go. Got people that are going to fail their check like Reg. If you don't want to wait for that to go away, I can press L, and it removes the area effects. So it's literally area effect remover, I think is the name of the mod. An amazing ability.
Do what I must.
Over there.
Oh, I want that. Yeah, I want that. Want the treasure.
I'm off.
We've got another room here. But we're getting low on spells and such, so we're going to do a quick save just to make sure. Because if this is the big bad fight, we definitely want to rest up for it. And we are taking damage, just the tiniest bit. So Tristan, we're never going to use that whole person. You might as well use that to heal Rakonga. Thank you. Alright, quick save that mess. Where's our plate that activates this door? It's locked. Did we miss something? Oh, did we not hit the trigger here? bet you that's what that trigger's for. Didn't say anything. Looks like it's open though. Yep, okay. It's a little weird that they put the trigger so far away. I wonder what it actually does, besides just opening the door. I wonder if there's like a crap ton of monsters in here.
I'm there.
And another one. It doesn't do a whole lot of anything. Okay, so clearly we're missing another trigger. Haul back this way. We've been up this path. Yep. So let's actually work our way around to here. Oh, it's this mess again. There's AI patterning in here real bad. You almost have to force them down the path. So first off, make sure we're going the right way. Yeah, here's where we split. So we have a choice of going this way or this way. And yesterday I went that way. Okay.
I do what I must.
What's that thing?
That would be a trap.
Got it.
I'm there.
We'll have to check that spot out later. Matter of fact, let's check that out right now. Nope. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that hitting that trigger didn't also open that door as well.
In due time.
So as you see, now we're going downstairs. Okay, quick save. Try to push our luck as much as we can without blowing all our spells before taking that knee. Got a door to open. Like the sound of that. Sounds like it's hidden treasure room to me.
Done.
Wand of Slow. Cloak of the Winter Wolf. I'll show you that one here in just a moment. Alright, so Cloak of the Winter Wolf. That's this guy right here. Yes? Now this one is a... Anytime they do a successful bite attack, it does cold damage extra, and it trips the target. The only person on the team that does a bite attack is Reg. I could give it to him, but then I lose his Cloak of Resistance +3 as a result. So it's kind of meh. Again, it's one of those where we'll probably just straight up sell it. But if you had someone that Steady Eddie had a bite attack like a barbarian,
I was successful in my
that it was
search.
constantly using a bite move, I'd probably give it to them instead. Fools, there's no way out of here, says the ghost. Run like hell. Now, obviously, you're meant to follow the ghost. I'm going to in a moment. That's
I
locked.
do what I must.
That leads to a very nasty fight that we're going to avoid right now. This one also, I believe, leads to a
I
fight.
shall end this.
And again, we're kind of pushing our luck here by doing these ones. This one's probably not so bad. And again, the fact that she still has doggos that she can just screw you, man. We got doggos. Goes a long way. But eventually doggos aren't going to be enough to handle the bad guys we're about to fight. Jubilos is out of bombs. Very low on spells. Or concoctions, whatever the hell they call those things. Dora has a few things left, but again, not much. I want to do what? Probably turn on the 5-foot stutter step, and as a magus, I'm allowed to channel my melee touch attacks through my weapons. And now watch this. I'll show you how this works. Channel into your weapon, swing, and then swing multiple times. See, I only hit him once. But when I hit him, I discharge the spell, 10d6 of damage. So 18 damage from the weapon, 10d6. And it looks like I've lost my buff yet again, time-wise. Prayer spell. penalizing everybody on my team that got hit with that.
Die!
That's not good. Tristan. Can you shoot him?
Repent!
No. Reg, I want you to 5-foot stutter step over here. Just use your... You know what? Matter of fact, see if you can hit with this. Yeah, go Reg. He's not very good at that, by the way. If you look at that, he has a -4 penalty to his swing, but it's a touch attack. So with these guys that only have armor, it's a really good chance still for him to hit them. Elias's turn. Fire wound damage to these fools because it's easy to just straight up do damage to them. Let the doggos do their thing. You've lost. Just shoot this one. Sneak attack damage. Very nice. Not the doggos. Alright, Dor doesn't have a whole lot left on his plate, but I got a slow spell. They both made their check. Oh, well that just happened. Jackass.
Out of my way!
She is not doing well against these guys. She needs a 9 or better. She thinks you could hit more often.
You forced
Christian,
my
give it
hand.
a go. Reg, do that beam again. He's just crushing it for the team today. I love Eldritch Scions, which is what he is, because of their spontaneous casting ability. It is extremely valuable. Kind of cancel the prayer that he had on us, as well as throw that debuff their way. You've lost.
Primitives! Amateurs!
Dora.
You should have run! Strike!
Because I move so much in that combat round, I only get to attack one time, because it's not a full combat turn. If you do the 5-foot stutter step, though, and you still had the full combat turn, you still get to be attack, attack, attack. As many as you normally have access to. Finally, she gets an attack in. Jeez Louise, man. So, again, if I do a 5-foot stutter step or don't move at all, I can shoot him. I can shoot him try twice with Tristan. But if I do something stupid, like just move him and then shoot,
to make this swift.
I only get the one attack. Reg, go ahead and dunk this fool. Nice. Reg is carrying the team on that one. Again, like I said, though, I love the Eldritch. Ooh, they definitely wanted that. That was camping supplies, 2 of them. I love having Eldritch Scions on the team because, again, they have the ability. They have the ability to cast anything from their level 1 spells that they have picked. They get to pick and choose. You have a very narrow spell list, but if I have 3 level 1 spells I can cast in a day, anything's up for debate. So long as it's a level 1 spell, I can like 3 of those, or 3 of them, or 1 of each, or mix and match. You get to tailor your fight a lot better than a wizard who picked their spells and kind of hoping that these are the spells that I need. Same with my my sword saint here. I picked his spells, have to hope that they're worth a damn. Not a whole lot I can do if they're not.
Hurt.
A lot of zomboys coming our way. Not worried about them so much because zombies aren't that big of a deal. But I think at the end of the hallway we get screwed and then we get like an army horde of these bastards coming our way. So we are pushing our luck here. But I still have another summons of skeletons from her. Tristan, I think, still has the ability to bust out a spell that he's already used for the day. So we're not completely hosed here. I will... buff up Reg for some cat's grace because he's been doing his beam attacks and stuff. And why not give him a little bit of love? zombie lord. Now you see I have range spell here I can use. Christian.
So it's come to this. Saren Ray, be generous to them, for I am not.
Yeah. Alright, Dora's turn. Couple zombie lords. See what I can get accomplished over here. One over there. Can you get a shout on? You can. Do a tiny step that way. I need to rotate my camera. This is another mod that I have with the period or the comma button. I can rotate the camera either way, so I can get a better see if I'm actually hitting this damn target, right? And the reason that that's important is because I'll do an attack, and if I can't tell if I'm going to land the attack, I can rotate the camera so I can actually see their feet. See that? And I'm not quite there yet. So again, just the tiniest more stutter step. Now I can get all these bastards in it. See that? And I was able to actually dunk one. And I'm going to step away. Now if I want to get the camera back to where it's supposed to be, remember it's comma, period, and then the button right next to the period centers it back to the way it should be. Now these doofuses hate fire. So I have a couple more of those and I'll go use them. That's solid damage right there. Puppers are coming in, tripping stuff up, eating their faces off. Proto's going to make a big step movement so that she can get way up here. She can only shoot once, but she got her sneak attack on. Clearly we got some treasure to grab. Taking that. Is there anything that we missed down here? Because we kind of got rushed into that fight. I don't see anything other than the bodies that we killed, of course. Check them just to check them, but by and large,
Stand with me.
more of the same. And again, Eliza's really good at tanking, so she's not particularly worried about these guys doing damage. The big giant Cyclops have been causing her problems, because those bastards hit hard. They have a huge, huge strength. I'm going to delay Proto's turn to the end of the fight. Why? Because that way I can not only get everyone else to move out of position, so she can move a little bit better, positioning-wise, but I can also get like someone like Dora up here to melee this
You
fool.
should have run!
So I'd have to swing. This has to be up and in their face,
Will they ever learn?
or just straight kill them. And I can do the same up here with Reg, dipping in their face. But if I had two people on them, Proto could get sneak attack love off of some of these guys.
Out of my way!
Still could, because it was a surprise round. So
I'm there.
I wish there was another way.
so a lot of these bastards just lounging around here. Okay, so now you see I have 3 of them lounging here pretty steady Eddie, right? And again, I have the ability to move or cast a spell, so I don't really get a whole lot of stuff that I get to do here. I could stagger here and see if that Dragon's Breath, say that Fire Beam again, I could hit 2 of these bastards. As I take 2 of them out, Protolich's turn. 5-foot stutter step.
Run them
Into this
through!
one. Sneak attack. Tristan.
You forced my hand.
Eliza. Quick save. Now there's a ghost in the back of this room. And he basically warns us to get out, and by that time we basically get screwed. There he is. So, if you don't want to have to deal with a big, nasty, nasty, nasty fight with all your spells gone and your buffs wearing off, come back here or somewhere. I don't know that here's a good spot, but we're going to try it. And camp. Rest up. Get everything, everyone's stuff back where it needs to be. Now, we did have people that leveled up, but as far as spell books are concerned, she's an auto caster, or a spontaneous caster. Same with Reg. They just get their spells, and they always have them. Remember, uses per day of anything from this list. Uses per day, anything from this list. 4 of these if I want to, sure, go ahead. one of this, one of this, one of this, one of that, sure, no problem. And again, that's why spontaneous casters are nice. For me, I have to pick my stuff. So if I've leveled up, or if I got better gear that increases my intelligence, for instance, and I suddenly have more spells a day to memorize, I can adjust my book as necessary. Still have solid choices, but I'm probably just going to keep with the choices that we have. I don't see anything in here that's like, well, maybe this. We don't usually use Stinking Cloud on the undead. Doesn't do a damn bit of good. So let's throw in a fireball spell? Sure, why not? Fire seems to be a favorite. Matter of fact, I'm going to get rid of that slow spell and do fireball twice, because extra damage is extra damage. Jubilost, he's been used as our teammate buffers, because now he can use these potions that he prepares, that's what these are, and use them on anybody now, which includes the team. Tristan's got solid choices already. The only thing that's not been really used is that, what was it called, the whole person spell. But not a whole lot of other choices in here that are amazing either. I'll take Weapon of Awe, though, maybe. And instead of this Bone Shaker, let's do a plus weapon? Nope. Arrow of Law, what's this thing do? That could be interesting. We'll give that one a go. Matter of fact, we'll give it a go twice. I'm cool with that.
I'm
And then
losing my
she
temper.
has her spells. Again, we've been finding a lot of the undead I thought were originally immune to cold spells. Turns out they are not. The skeletons are. I'm assuming because they don't have flesh. But anything that's not, the zombies and whatnot, have been getting shredded by her spells here. But notice, again, we have meta magics. She's been making them, but they're level 2. She did not get any traits that made them level 1 still. So her spell book is limited by that. Like I could have level 2 stuff where she's using these damn snowballs now, and that would be 10d6 damage. But then I have these beams that do 46, 46, and 46. Why would I want to switch out possible 12d6 of damage versus 10? There is reasons, I should say. Let's actually grab one. There is a reason that you'd want to use this. Notice that it has no spell resistance, whereas this one does. So if you come across guys that are like, oh, you did not penetrate their spell resistance, you're screwed, haha, and they're laughing at you. Here's a way to solve that problem. As long as they're not immune to cold, boom in the face for 10d6 of cold damage. And she can sneak attack that shit, so again, unless they're immune to sneak attack and crits, we got even more damage coming their way. So a solid upgrade. I really need to start doing stuff like using her Ray of Enfeeblement, her Necromancy spells, but let's face it, Necromancy spells being used in a dungeon filled with undead is probably not the best scenario we could have come up with. So just kind of, like same with these Innervation spells, they're not doing shit. I'd rather have more Animate Dead. Wall of Fire can make an appearance. I could grab the Improved Battering Blast. Again, we haven't tested this yet, but it's there. That's a solid option. I can do Dragon's Breath. For level 5, she already got this one, and she's even got a Bone Shatter. That's intense. Excuse me, that's intensified. Goodness, I'm tired. But again, she's not really using those to great effect. But Acidic Spray, that could do some serious damage. That's 15d6 of damage, baby. Well, 13 at this level. That's 13d6 of damage, and then half damage on top of that if they fail to check. So again, she has options, is my point. Save it, because this could be a bad place to rest. We don't know this. Can't hunt here. We have rations, and since we found 2 more, we actually have 3 rests waiting for us, by the way, so that's pretty nice. And this will get some weight off of us too, so when we start touting stuff around, it makes us happy.